I was on my way home when I discovered the store. I remembered needing garlic for the dinner I was going to cook for my husband that night. Most of the stores in our neighborhood would be closed, so I was relieved to see the newly built shack that was along one of the sidewalks I take on my way home from work. It had wooden plywood walls and the typical sari-sari storefront. I approached the window and asked, "I need 2 bulbs of garlic, please." "Sure. Give me a minute," an old lady with white curly hair said. She stood up and walked towards the back of the store, opened the box, and came back with the items. $9.50, she said. I rummaged through my purse and gave her 10 pesos. "Keep the change, Nay," I said. Not out of generosity, just that I didn't want any more loose change in my purse. Every night since then, the store had been my go-to every time I forget to buy something earlier in the day. It started innocently. I bought eggs, flour, candies, snacks. I was surprised that in the weeks that followed, when I needed something unusually specific, the store was there to save me from hours of looking. Carbon paper, panty liners, aluminum foil, AA batteries, plastic cups. I even bought a whetstone and a screwdriver from the old lady once. Every night I needed something. The store always came through for me, as long as I had the money, of course. I even talked to my husband about it. "Dear, there's this new store just outside our subdivision," I said. "It's amazing. It always got everything I needed."
I haven't seen any new stores lately,
he replied.
"Where was it?"
"Just beside the old karinderya where we used to have sisig. Remember the place?"
Yeah, but I don't see any new stores around there."
It may have been hard to notice because it's really small. The walls are made of plywood?
Yes,
My husband replied.
I've seen that. I thought that was a house.
He continued.
And the windows were always closed as far as I can remember.
"That's odd. It was always open when I walked by," I said.
Maybe they only open at night.
He replied.
I never get a chance to see it at night anyway.
Yes, that must be it. This conversation got me thinking. I never really noticed if the store was ever open in the morning. I went out of my way to satisfy my curiosity one Monday. Sure enough, the storefront was closed. There was nothing in front of me but a plank of wood over the familiar storefront window that I know was underneath. I thought nothing of it, as there were already a lot of stores that cater to night owls, but I put a mental note to ask. So that night, I decided to have ice cream on a whim. I admit, it was more for the curiosity about the store's opening hours more than anything. Sure enough, the store was open when I came by. "Hello, I need 2 cups of chocolate ice cream," I said after approaching the window. "How big? What size?" the old lady replied. "Just the smallest ones. 1 serving each?" "You got it," she replied. She stood up and opened the box. Come to think of it, it was odd that she seemed to keep all her stock in that one box. She got the ice cream and brought it to me. 56 pesos, she said. I gave her the money as I thanked her. "What time do you usually open, Nay?" I asked. She simply said, "We open when you need us." That made me smile, but stopped after I realized she wasn't joking. "Sorry, Nay, were you serious?" Yeah, she said, and laughed at my incredulity. "We open 9:30 to 10. That's when you go home from work, yes?" "Yes." "Yeah, we here. Open for you." I look around. It's 9:50 p.m. and there were still several night walkers and passers-by around. I slowly realized that none of them seemed to notice me, let alone the relatively bigger storefront that's in front of me. "We close in 10 minutes, she said. I nodded. "Thank you," I said. I took my ice cream and walked home. My arms and legs covered with goosebumps. I'm not new to weird things, but I've rarely had weird things happen to me personally. But I had always been a curious girl, so even as last night's encounter got me scared, my curiosity got the best of me. I walked to the store again the next night. "Hello, Nay," I said as I greeted the old lady. "Me again." "Hi," she said. "What you need?" "I was just wondering, what did you mean last night when you said that you were open for me?" "We opened for you. Are you going to buy something tonight?" "No, not tonight. I just wanted to ask some questions." "Then, we're not talking. You're not buying? No talk," she said. "Okay, alright. What can you sell me?" "Everything," she replied. I chuckled. "Everything?" "Yes, everything. Quickly, we are closing soon." With a hint of laughter, I said, "Okay, I need a 4-cheese, 12-inch pizza with lots of meat and green bell peppers." The old lady looked at me with a piercing gaze. "Are you mocking me?" I was surprised that I seemed to have offended her. No, I mean, young lady, are you absolutely sure you need a pizza?" She cut me off. "Because I can give you the pizza, no problem, as long as you pay. But, do you really need a pizza?" She said, her gaze never leaving me. I was frozen. This lady is crazy serious about getting me anything I ask for. See, up to this point, I've always thought that the store was special. But, like, in a cute way. Now, I'm just scared at how seemingly shady all of it was. I decided to gather every ounce of resolve I had. "Okay," I said as I took a deep breath. "I need to buy something that will make me rich forever." I didn't know why I said that. I wasn't thinking. I was the kind of person that, when confronted face to face with a seemingly unbelievable obstacle, would challenge it no matter what the cost. I certainly didn't think about becoming richer than my wildest dreams. But this lady is she's challenging me. And this reply meant that I'm up for it. But her reaction was not one I expected. The old lady's eyes actually lit up when I said that. I felt like I was a genie. Like I uttered some magic words and she's suddenly the happiest person on earth because I granted her one wish. "Ah!" she exclaimed. "But that one is a special item. Are you sure you want it? Because you can only get special item once." "Yes, I'm sure," I said too quickly. She stood up and opened her box. When she came back, she brought me a piece of cloth. "Here," she said. "Free item. Thank you for your patronage." I took the cloth in my hands. It was unusually soft. It was probably like how it felt when they say, fine as silk. But I didn't notice anything special other than that. "What is this?" I asked. "Magic cloth. Only works with money," she replied. "You wrap one piece of money at night, then you sleep, double money in the morning." After that, I was really laughing. "Seriously, that's ridiculous, Nay. But thank you. That's cute, okay? I'm taking this home as a keepsake." "More ridiculous than a box that can hold everything?" she said with a smile and a wink. You know the saying that goes, "You won't really lose anything if you try"? That's how I felt about the piece of cloth. It seemed harmless enough to try using it. So that night, I wrapped 100 peso bill in it. Just 100. I didn't want to ruin 1,000 or 500 on the off chance that the cloth actually destroyed money instead of reproduced it. Then, I went to sleep. You can bet on the first thing I checked when I woke up the next morning. Sure enough, there were two 100 peso bills wrapped in cloth. I checked the serial numbers and I was surprised to find that they were different. I don't know. The duplicate could be a real money for all I know, and the cloth had to be taking it from somewhere. That was the least puzzling matter, of course. There, in front of me, was a piece of cloth that could apparently duplicate money overnight, and all I could think about were the logistics of money teleportation. This will sound like an understatement, but I had no idea what to do. What I know is that I could never let my husband know. He will go nuts, paranoid. This isn't normal. Eventually, after some thinking, I decided that I will return the piece of cloth to the old lady that night. Now, the reason that I almost always forget to buy the little things at that time was that we were in the middle of a workplace crisis. One of our clients was on the verge of being acquired by some larger company, and some of the people in the office had sure risk of being laid off. My position was safe, but I was tasked to evaluate the ones that we could let go. Working in human resources, I was one of the few people who genuinely felt that our employees were important, and most of the people there I would consider close friends, if not family. With this matter in hand, you can easily imagine how I couldn't focus at work on that first day I witnessed the power of the cloth. I had a hand in deciding whether Roy from the janitorial services will still be able to afford to feed his family in the coming months. I get to decide whether Carla from accounting will get to send her kids to college this coming semester. The thought of this, power never left my mind. If I could use the money to help them, then it would be easier for me to tell them that they had to go. I can do my job and at the same time feel safe and secure in the fact that I can provide them with the means to sustain themselves and families as needed until they find some new work. Of course, I also thought about the consequences. As I said earlier, the cloth could have been taking the money from somewhere else, and I would be no more than a petty thief if I let that happen. But what if it takes from the overly rich? Would I be like a Robin Hood? Surely, the top 1% wouldn't lose sleep over 100 pesos, or a few thousand. I became so clouded with these opposing thoughts that I decided to hold off on returning the cloth. The next few weeks, I avoided the store entirely. I decided to keep it. We have already let go of several employees, and I was the one in charge of telling them the bad news. What my superior didn't know, of course, was that I promised each one of them that I will be supporting them financially, indefinitely, without having to worry about incurring debt. At first they were suspicious, but I have a pretty high enough position in our company to convince them not to worry, telling them I've amassed a significant amount of money in savings. Besides, when the time came for the talk, I had let the person think that I was helping them and only them, just as a personal favor. I was careful and insistent about this fact that they should not let anyone else know about it. They would never know I was helping all of them. Fast forward a few months, and even after all the goodwill, the times still had not been kinder to me. I had no problems about money, that's for sure. But it was also around this time that my husband exhibited symptoms of an illness that we had never encountered before. He described that he always felt weak, like he was always in some state of heightened fever. He only ever experienced two extremes, sheer cold and warmth. And it was taking every second of my free time to just take care of him. He looked alright, physically. He never lost weight. No visible lesions or sores anywhere in the skin, but he has lost his sense of taste. And he was losing hair too. We went to several clinics and hospitals, private and public. Talked to a lot of doctors. Not one of them could find what was wrong with him exactly. It became so bad that he had to be confined. stuck lying in bed in a hospital room. The IV drip taking away the time as if counting the seconds, the breaths, until such time that he can eventually leave everything behind and rest. I couldn't help but think that this was the price I had to pay for all the money that I used. No, the money I took. I remember the day when I first found the store, when I didn't have all that power, that sense of responsibility, when I still have the smarts to think things through, when I wasn't drunk in the delusion that I could solve everyone's problem just by sleeping on it and finding the solution magically appear in the morning. So, one night, I decided to leave my husband's side to go to the store that sold me everything. I was surprised to see that it was still open after all this time. "Hello," I greeted the old lady. "Hi, what you need?" she asked. "I just needed someone to talk to." I burst in tears. "Okay, but no buy, no talk," the lady replied. "Of course," I said with a sniffle. I wiped the tears from my eyes and said, "I need the medicine for my husband." "Ah," she said, "but that is a special item. You only get special item once, and you already have yours." "But I don't want it anymore," I screamed. "Take the cloth back. Just please. Let me have something to cure my husband." "Sorry, but no takebacks, young lady. This store follows strict policy." There was nothing else I could do but lean at the plywood walls and cry, "Please, just please, take it back." "We close now," she said. "You need anything else?" I glared at her, but did not answer. After a few seconds, I composed myself and walked away. As I did, I heard a wooden plank fall down to cover what was once a welcome and familiar sight. Our former employees had moved on, and I was happy to hear that each one of them found new jobs to comfortably sustain their lives. They all promised to pay me back, and I've since been receiving parts of the total that I've lent them every month. I lost my husband that year, and the experts declared his death as natural. Only I and the old lady who ran the store know that it was very far from that.